Hello, it's January 12th, 2019. Hey guys, during this video, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about modafinil, a little bit about phenylpiracetam, just specifically in the context of getting stuff done, productivity, creativity, being the best you, for those of you who are ambitious, business owners, whatever you're trying to do. So I'm really excited. I just got some modafinil. There you go, it just came through. You can see that. So very, very exciting. I have a milligram scale, so I actually prefer it not being in the packets. This is just kind of how it looks. 3.1 grams. You can't really see there, but it's like small crystals. Has a good shine to it, but the stuff is expensive. It's really, really expensive. Really expensive, but it's worth it, I mean, some people who take high doses of it are paying $5 per day, right? But think about it, it has to be worth it, right? And then what else do I have? I have some phenylpiracetam. I have a capsule maker, so I made them. These are about 100 to 150 milligrams per, right? So talk a little bit about both, and I've made other videos about them. Modafinil I like a lot better than Nootropic. I'm starting to like it a little bit more than Modafinil, although Modafinil, it has its uses. It's very good for focus, very good if you're sleep deprived, but modafinil really gives you this, I feel more creative with it. I don't really get as much energy as I do from phenylpiracetam, but phenylpiracetam, it's sort of like this unfocused energy. Last time I had it, maybe I had too much. I had about 150 milligrams of phenylpiracetam, and it was like 7-8 hours later. I barely ate anything the whole day, and I was just so eager to exercise or just go for a sprint. I just went outside and I went for a jog, and that is totally unusual for me. That's not like me. So phenylpiracetam, you get a lot of energy. I feel like it's a better mood enhancer. If you're somebody that experiences some anxiety, maybe somebody that wants to be a little bit more extroverted, phenylpiracetam is the best mood enhancer out there, in my opinion. Although you feel like it's unfocused energy. Yeah, if you kind of know what I mean. Whereas modafinil, you sort of know what to do. You feel like you know what to do, and you can just keep on going, and you don't really have the need for making breaks or having breaks. Excuse me. Typically, if I don't have any phenylpiracetam or modafinil, and I'm on my normal Nootropic stack, I like to work in like 2.5 hour chunks, so like 2.5 hours or 2 hours, and then I'll take a good 20-30 minute break. Sometimes a nap, sometimes I'll meditate, or walk my dog, something like that, right? Just completely out of the zone. Whereas modafinil, you can just keep on going. I know it sounds really strange, but that's just how it is. And it's been my experience, maybe not for everybody, but it takes a few hours to settle in. With modafinil and Nootropic, the first 2-3 hours, for whatever reason, I don't really feel like there's much of an effect. You get a little bit stimulated, but the productivity and stuff doesn't really settle in. It's later in the day when you feel stimulated, like you want to do stuff. You kind of just a bit restless. Like the last time I took modafinil, different experience than phenylpiracetam. I mentioned with phenylpiracetam, just overly stimulated, really not knowing what to do. Whereas modafinil, I kind of have this like out of body experience. 7-8 hours after ingestion, I was just, I had to create a bunch of systems for my assistant to do, just create systems that would allow my assistant to clearly know kind of like step-by-step instructions for particular processes in my business. And as I was doing it, I could just do it, and I made like 3 or 4, different sets of instructions, and it was weird. It was just like I felt very present, sort of felt like the observer. If you've heard that term, where although I'm here, I'm sort of watching myself from somewhere else, right? Like an out-of-body experience. So very cool stuff. I was just getting a lot done, and I was noticing at the same time, this is the modafinil allowing me to be sharper than I typically am at the end of a workday. So very cool. You can sort of understand why it's priced the way it is and why it's so hard to get a hold of. So in a nutshell, Phenylpiracetam is better for energy, better for mood, but it doesn't really quite have the focus that modafinil does. Whereas modafinil really just gives you that focus, allows you to know what needs doing. So the question comes down to, when would you have modafinil and when will you have phenylpiracetam, right? You would take phenylpiracetam if you are doing a job which requires a lot of social interaction, you're working with people. In that context, I would say it's better, because modafinil, you're better with stuff like computer work, stuff like reading books. You don't really have the patience to talk to people. It's just you want things to go quicker. You want them to go quicker and quicker. You're kind of like just overly stimulated that you can't really be empathetic towards people. You can't really see things from from other people's perspectives. So very cool stuff, but I'm gonna be taking a lot more modafinil within the next couple of weeks, since, of course, as I mentioned, I re-upped, and I'll let you know how that goes. These are my two favorite products for productivity. Two best nootropics drug supplements, along with bupropion / Wellbutrin. And as you know, there's of course other stuff like Concerta, Adderall, which I've never tried Adderall, but Concerta and that whole class of ADHD medication. But I do not, I don't take any of those. I don't recommend it because the withdrawals are so strong, and just it has to be doing something to your neurochemistry that is not ideal if you just think about how strong it is, right? So not something you can take long term. I look for long term solutions, and this stuff like phenylpiracetam and modafinil, this is really for emergency uses only, right? They're not stuff which you'll be taking all the time every single day. But if you have a project, let's say the next over the next month, or you have a test coming up, an exam, or there's those emergency situations where you really got to be at the top of your game and you're sleep deprived, or something in that context. I think you know where I'm going with this. So the next few weeks is gonna be very, very busy for me, and which is the reason why I'll be playing a lot with these more stronger nootropics, along with the usual stuff I take, like all the adaptogens like Bacopa, like rhodiola, like ashwagandha, all that good stuff, and of course your basics like vitamin D, fish oil. As you all know, I like the racetams a lot, so I'm using a lot of those, along with the alpha GPC as the choline source. So hope you guys found this stuff useful. Really want to be of help to everyone out there, since I've been using nootropics, I would say 7 to 8 years now, on and off. Man, I've spent so much money on them, but it's one of the best investments that I've made. I'll look forward to seeing you guys next time.